Hello, 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 and welcome today. Again, here we are. It's Mindful Monday. Yay! I know you've been waiting all week for this. So lovely to have you here and lovely to see you. We'll give it a minute, as always, just to see if anybody comes in. I hope you're well. It's a little bit of a chilly one today. I've got my hoodie on, my Vitality hoodie, of course. So it's slightly chillier than usual, but we will go ahead anyway. And so let's get started. We always start. Hello, Nikki. Do feel free to say hello if you want to. You don't have to. But if you want to say hello, that's great. It's nice to see people there. We always start with defining mindfulness, don't we? So it's always good after a week just to refresh and get back on the same page. And if you've never done one of these sessions before, we're going to be going for sort of 30 minutes. And there really is no right or wrong way to engage. What I would say is just try as best as you can just to keep your attention, to keep your concentration, rather than falling asleep. I know sometimes I send people to sleep, which can be a good thing at times, but hopefully not today. So mindfulness means maintaining a moment-by-moment awareness of our thoughts, feelings, bodily sensations, and surrounding environment through a gentle and nurturing lens. A moment-by-moment awareness of our thoughts, our feelings, our bodily sensations, and our surrounding environment through a gentle and nurturing lens. Mindfulness also involves acceptance. Big part of mindfulness. This means that we pay attention to our thoughts and feelings without judging them, without believing, for instance, that there's a right or a wrong way to think or feel in a given moment. When we practice mindfulness, our thoughts tune into what we're sensing in the present moment, rather than rehashing the past or indeed imagining the future. So we don't want our attention on the future. We don't want to be remembering things from our past. We want to just tune into everything we're sensing in this moment. And sometimes that's a good feeling or a positive feeling. Sometimes it's maybe a feeling of discomfort. And both of those things are okay. And today we're going to be talking about pressure. We're going to be exploring pressure and what pressure means and how it shows up in our lives. So go ahead and get yourself comfy. I'm sitting here with a chair with a back here, which I'll kind of press my back into the back of the chair. You can be sitting on the ground, you can be lying down, but fundamentally, I just want you somewhere that you'll be comfortable for the next 25 minutes or so. And when you feel yourself in a lovely position, just softly close your eyes. I have my hands on my lap here. You can have them down by your side. Whatever feels comfortable to you in this moment. And what we will do is we will take a few deep breaths together to begin our session. So breathe in. And breathe out. Inhale deeply. And exhale completely. Inhale. And exhale. 2 more here. Inhale deeply. Exhale completely. Breathe in. And breathe out. And as always, continue to breathe. Might sound funny, but how often do we concentrate on our breathing? How often do we turn our attention inwards to our chests, to our breath, to our heart? Notice the effect of every breath. As it expands your belly and contracts. And notice that if your belly is not expanding and contracting, can you breathe a little deeper into what we call the diaphragm, rather than having your breath shallow and towards your chest? If you're breathing into your chest, you might notice your shoulders moving. If you're breathing into the depths of your lungs, into what we call diaphragmatic breathing, your shoulders will remain still and your belly will be expanding and contracting. The breath is always with you. And it's a wonderful indicator or signpost, perhaps, to bring your attention back to this present moment. As I mentioned, the focus of today's session is pressure. What is pressure? And sometimes I like to get a little definition for you, don't I? So I've got a couple of definitions. And the first definition is the force you produce when you press something. The force you produce when you press something. So I want you just to take your hands, keep your eyes closed, and I just want you to take one hand above the other and press slowly together your hands. They can be in your lap, or they can be at your heart center. But just press and let go. Press and let go. And notice that sensation that occurs in both hands, but also between your hands too. When contact is made and when pressure is exerted, it's almost like it has an effect on both sides, but also in a space that belongs to neither side. And that's an example of physical pressure, that sensation. Okay, you can relax now, you can relax. What we often refer to when we're talking about pressure is a psychological pressure. And if you imagine your expectations of life as one hand and the reality of life in the other, the sensation between the two could indeed be described as that pressure or that stress that seems to arise when the reality of our lives doesn't quite meet the expectations. And those expectations could be set by you or people around you. They could be set by you, or they could be set by the society in which we live. And that it's kind of a little bit of the same thing. Our conditioning, the people around us, the society in which we live, we pick up a whole bunch of ideas and beliefs about what is important, what is valuable, what is meaningful in life. And sometimes we take those expectations, we take those ideas on, and try to act consistently with those. For example, being productive, getting lots of things done, becoming successful, achieving lots of goals, being the perfect husband, wife, uncle, auntie, employee. Not making mistakes or not experiencing failures at all. Now there's an implication to us striving for these things, and the implication is that we set our own expectations. And sometimes we set expectations that are unrealistic. When the right hand of unrealistic expectation meets the left hand of reality, there can be an incredibly uncomfortable sensation. And this is where mindfulness, or taking a mindfulness-based approach to life, can be incredibly helpful. Because remember, mindfulness is about maintaining a moment-by-moment awareness. It involves acceptance, meaning that we accept our thoughts and feelings without judging them. It means that the right hand holds no expectation when it meets the left. It holds no preconceived ideas. It holds no judgments of how things should or could be done. And it understands that life will play out exactly as life will play out. Whether I have expectations or not, whether I want it to be different or not. Life will play out. Whether I feel pressure or not. Life will play out. And if you're experiencing many moments where you feel stressed, where you feel pressure of some kind to conform, to meet expectations, the only thing that we can do is live life one moment at a time. We can only answer the question that we are being asked in this moment. Life will ask you a question. And then another one. And then another one. But you have to answer question 1 before you can move on to question 5. It's not like, you remember doing tests when you were younger, it's not like, oh, I'm not sure on the answer to this one, I'm going to skip forward and come back. No. It doesn't work like that. Just answer one question at a time. One task at a time. One responsibility at a time. And you'll find that pressure palpable. Manageable. Whatever that pressure even is. If we place pressure on our legs, on our hands again, we have that physical sensation, don't we? And that psychological pressure, that stress, is made of exactly the same thing. It's just made of exactly the same thing as that physical sensation. You can observe it. You can experience it. But just as we press our hands together, we can also take them apart. We can relieve that pressure. We can relieve that stress. Without doing anything in particular. Just taking our hands away from each other. just taking your foot off the accelerator, slowing down, taking one step at a time instead of trying to jump 3 or 4, juggling so many things. And some people might think, well, Henri, I've got so many things to juggle. Home life, work life, kids, this, that. But I promise you, you can only attend to one thing at one time. And fully immerse yourself in that. And then move to the next thing. In a moment, I'm going to count down from 5 to 1. Try not to rush off anywhere. Try not to jump into another meeting or into a conversation or into your social media. I'll just hold this space for a few moments. But when I get to 1, just bring your attention back to the room that you're in your own time, and take your time. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining today. It's been lovely to spend this time with you. Feel free to just sit here for a moment or two, or if anything's coming to your mind that you'd like to share, then please feel free to post a comment if you'd like to. Laura says thanks. You're so welcome. And Andrea says thanks. You're so welcome. It's a pleasure. It's an absolute pleasure. So hopefully you can float into the rest of your week. And always remember that these sessions are practice sessions, you know. The good stuff, the really good stuff comes when we take each moment as it comes in our lives. Every conversation, every challenge, every question. Try not to think too far ahead. I know that can happen. It's common. It's common to imagine future situations and consequences. And there's value there. There's a certain amount of value there. But try as best as you can to bring your attention back to this moment whenever you can. Have a lovely week, everyone. I hope you have a relaxing and enjoyable week, and I will see you again next time. Take care.